Hi, so in this video, I'm going to be talking about how I went from studying a technical program in school to how I'm now currently in a commercial role in a multinational company. Now, I'm going to be talking about what I studied in school, why I studied that, how the transition happened, and how that's going so far. Now, this video is for you if you've been struggling with what you're studying in school currently, or maybe you're done with school and you're not happy about what you studied and you feel like your degree is holding you back. I'm sure my story will probably resonate with you somehow. You can let me know in the comments if you somehow resonate with this. But anyway, let's get started. Alright, so talking about what I studied in school, I studied mechanical engineering in Covenant University. Now, the story of how I picked mechanical engineering is quite funny. I was getting done with high school and I had to pick something to do in school, right? And I liked math. Actually, I loved math. I liked physics, chemistry was cool too. But then I also liked stuff like economics, right? I liked financial accounting, but I was a science student, so I didn't really spend much time with things like financial accounting and government. But I really loved accounting because it had to do with math and money, right? Who doesn't love that? But anyway, after a lot of consultation, I ended up picking mechanical engineering because it both sounded nice and it wasn't too restrictive. It was between mechanical engineering and petroleum engineering, but I had to go with mechanical from my own point of view because I felt like petroleum was too restricted to like the oil and gas sector, for example. So I picked mechanical engineering. And it's funny because I never actually saw myself being an engineer at this point. I just thought it sounded cool, and then maybe the prospects for career progression was good, so maybe I'd eventually end up liking it, but I never really like had that zeal or passion to be a mechanical engineer or any form of engineer at this point in time. I really just thought I could do it because I've always believed that I have capacity to do whatever I want to do. And yeah, so having faith in yourself and just believing yourself, and it's something I talked about in my previous video. I'll leave a link to that in the description or in the card up here so you can check that out if you haven't watched that video already. But yeah, that's how I got into studying mechanical engineering. Now, talking about when the mental transition started happening, I was in school and I was doing well in school. Mechanical engineering was basic technical stuff, mostly stuff I've already done in secondary school, so it was easy for me. But as things got more intense, I started realizing that this is probably not for me, and I definitely didn't have any extra passion to do more than what was required to get good grades. I was still getting good grades, but nothing really more than that. And that's how you know when something is really for you, right? You see yourself putting extra effort, and I'll talk about that in a bit. But for now, I wasn't really into it. Like, I couldn't see myself with that passion. But at this point, I could see my colleagues really into it. Like, they were really into the whole engineering thing, and then there was me not really liking it as much. Everything stood out for me when I saw one of my classmates. He was going through his email, and I saw subscriptions to engineering things, and I'm like, really, that, like, I subscribe to things like newsletters and things, but nothing on engineering. That's when it really stood out to me that okay, there are actually people that are into this thing, and it's just not for me. So now, not too long after this, I spoke to my dad. I told him how I was feeling about how I felt like mechanical engineering just wasn't for me, and how I've probably wasted my time in school and I'm not going to amount to much. He made me understand what school really does for you, how school is really about learning how to learn, and how the structured educational system is really the true gem, is really the true like thing you benefit from. It's about how to structure your mind in a way to think better and to understand like information in society better rather than just learning a certain thing. School teaches you how to learn, and then learning never stops. And I have all the exams I'm still writing to speak to that. But he told me about how a person with the university degree, that structured education that you have, how you'd be thinking better than, maybe if you want to sell pepper, for example, you'd be thinking better than the market woman in the markets, right? How to sell pepper. And nothing against the people that are selling pepper in the markets currently, but it's really about how your mind would think of scale, like industrialization, how to move forward through the things that you've learned in school and through the way your mind works. And it's really just that rather than the degree that you have. Now, learning never stops. I still made sure that I did my best in school, right? I didn't compromise my grades or anything, but I knew that this thing that I was doing just wasn't for me. And so I started thinking of what else I could put my energy into. I started thinking of like other places that maybe my passion might be. So I started reading personal development books, right? I started reading about how to be the kind of person I wanted to be. So my general idea or vision was being the CEO type of person, right? Leading a big organization. And so I had to think of what's necessary to get me to that point. And I started trying to learn those things and putting my effort into growing those skills. I tried my hand on things like photography, on web development. I just tried anything that I thought I could find my passion in. I tried to do things to see if there was something else for, but really just trying to build on this my dream of being a leader. So I never really thought that it was something like business administration that would be good for me, but I just thought that that's what I wanted to do. I would ask myself, what are the things I need to do today to get to where I want to be? And then I'll ask, and then maybe at the end of the day, I'll ask if I keep doing everything that I did today, would that end me up where I want to be? So that's how I kept track of everything. And in my previous video, I also talked about this like accountability, like being intentional about everything that you do, about your actions. So talking about how this transition happened, there was never really a point where I said, "Oh, I'm no more an engineer," or I'm no more interested in technical roles or anything." But NYSC came and no work, right? So I had a lot of free time. I had time to, I mean, like post NYSC. I had time to think about what I wanted to put my efforts in. And so I started taking courses. I started doing project management, I started doing digital marketing, web development, just anything that I could put myself into, any skill that I could learn that could be marketable in the future. So I was trying to build myself beyond engineering. And then my first job comes, right? My auntie helped me set it up. Shout out Auntie Sodi. So she helped me get my first job, and it was in a small procurement company where we would reach out to vendors to get quotes, to get their prices on things, and then we work out logistics, transportation. I learned a whole lot. I learned about invoicing, I learned about purchase orders, way bills, and all of that. It was invaluable experience for me. Still kind of related to engineering, but it was already a step away from the technical part of it and into the supply chain part. And after that, my cousin comes around. Shout out Sofri. At this point, we weren't even talking, or I hardly knew him, but he reaches out to me and says he's starting a new company, and would I like to come work for him? And so yeah, I joined him, but then I had to find my own space in the company, right? So he helped me. He set me up on the path of data science. He paid for a couple courses for me on data science, and then I really put myself into it. I started learning Excel, SQL, or SQL as some people call it, Python, Power BI, and really just like the whole data analysis pipeline. And I really put myself into it. I started building Python programs to help automate sales data and create dashboards and all of that. I started doing things to just help the company, and I was getting certificate after certificate. I put myself into it. I started paying for the things by myself, and that's back to what I was talking about, how you'd really see, you'd know when you have an interest in something, right? Your passion would come out, and then you'd see yourself making that extra effort to do what you want to do. But anyway, beyond that, I applied for my current role while I was still there, and it's an oil and gas company, right? It's heavily engineering, but I applied for a graduate role, so nothing specific. I didn't say I wanted a technical role or a commercial role or anything like that, but they gave us like an option to pick where we'd like to be, like what business area would be good for our skills. So I picked projects and technology because there was a potential that I could fit into data science. Like, you're supposed to pick the business area that fits your goals and also fits the first degree that you got. So I picked projects and technology because I saw that I'd be able to at least have a potential to get into data science. So then my case study comes, right? And it's labeled commercial case study. And I'm like, okay, what's going on here? I was really expecting them to give me a technical role and take me back to engineering, honestly. So then the interview comes, and it's a like I'm supposed to make a presentation on the case study, right? And then they ask me questions, and then they go ahead to do some behavioral assessments. So it's really just to learn how you think and see if you have capacity to do what you need to do, right? So I ended up getting the job, and I saw on my offer that it was a supply chain role. So yeah, not technical at all, and that's where I am now. Supply chain, a commercial role. I'm completely happy with it. Maybe I'll make a video in the future about how the interview experience was, and maybe just give tips on how to make sure that you have a great interview and you stand out. Now, I don't know if my peculiar combination of mechanical engineering background, that's a technical background, and then my procurement experience had anything to do with why I was chosen for my role. But I just feel like all the effort that I put into the things I was doing before and making sure that I did my best ended up putting me where I am now. And it's really great for me because it aligns with my career path that I see for myself. I'm really learning how like big businesses work. And I didn't mention earlier about how I was taking accounting courses because I knew that accounting is something that's important, that I think is important for life. So everyone needs to go and learn a bit about accounting. But really, things like profit and loss, cash flow statements, balance sheets, just things to understand businesses and understand money, understand what profit is, understand what a loss is, and how businesses stay afloat. So that's just something that's important. But yeah, that's where I am now. So I'm in my commercial role. I'm really enjoying it. Now there's still some technical parts of it because, like I said, it's an engineering company and we are focused on doing engineering work, right? I'm supposed to be managing contracts for engineering services, for example. So I don't need the technical background, but the technical background really helps me to understand the scope of work, what business need is. So I guess everything just really aligned for me, and yeah, it's been great. Yeah, so that's my story, and I know it's probably not a conventional story, but it's my own story, and everyone's story is different. You can tell me a bit about yours in the comments. I'll be willing to listen, and if you enjoyed this, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like the video. I'll be talking more about stuff like this. But just remember that your degree shouldn't hold you back. Like your grades, right? You can do whatever you want to do despite whatever you're studying or whatever you've studied in school. School just teaches you how to learn, and then you need to apply yourself beyond that. Learning doesn't stop outside school. Don't let anyone tell you. So while in school, just learn how to learn, build your network, make sure that you make friends in school that are also like-minded like you, and just make sure that you get what you need to get from school, but don't let it hold you back. So yeah, thanks again for watching. I appreciate you all for supporting me, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care. Bye.